Never stop reading Bible. Today, we're jumping into the epic finale of the book of Acts, tracking the absolutely incredible final journey of the Apostle Paul. Now, you'd think being a prisoner in chains would be the end of the story, right? Well, for Paul, those chains are about to carry him on a mission straight to the heart of the Roman Empire.
And that really gets to the heart of it all. How on earth does a journey that's all about trials, superstorms, and shipwrecks become one of the most important missions in history? Well, the answer, believe it or not, starts in a courtroom. All right, so let's set the scene. We're opening up chapter 26. Paul has been locked up for years, and now he's finally standing before the highest authorities around, including the very powerful King Agrippa. This is his big moment to plead his case. So on one side, you've got these religious leaders accusing him, basically calling him a political threat. But when Paul gets his chance to speak, he doesn't give some boring legal defense. No. Instead, he tells his story, his own radical conversion, and why his hope in the resurrection is the real reason he's on trial.
Paul just brilliantly flips the script. He knows this isn't just about him. He sees this courtroom for what it is, a stage. He turns this moment of judgment into an unbelievable platform to share his message with some of the most powerful people in the world.
And here's where it gets wild. After hearing all of this, King Agrippa himself basically says, "Hey, this guy's innocent. He could have walked free." But there was a catch. Paul had already played his trump card as a Roman citizen. He had appealed his case directly to Caesar.
So you see what's happening? What looks like a huge legal mistake, a setback, keeping an innocent man chained up, is actually the very thing that guarantees he gets to Rome. His own appeal ties him to this journey, showing us there's a much bigger plan at play here. So Paul is officially on his way to Rome. But if you thought the courtroom drama was intense, just wait. Chapter 27 throws him and everyone with him into a fight for their lives out on the open sea.
Let's just walk through this escalating nightmare. They set sail, and a few days later, bam, a monster storm they call the Euraculus just swallows them. For 2 weeks, they're tossed around in total darkness. By day 14, even the professional sailors have given up. All hope is gone. But on that very night, Paul steps forward.
And this is where the prisoner becomes the leader. While the crew is in a full-blown panic, Paul delivers this divine promise that not a single person on board will die. He calms them down, gets them to eat. His faith literally becomes the anchor that saves every single life on that ship. It's incredible. Okay, they've survived the impossible. Paul's mission is now in its final act. In chapter 28, after this unbelievably long and dangerous journey, the destination he's been working towards his whole life is finally in sight. But hold on, not so fast. First, they all wash ashore on the island of Malta. You'd think they would just rest and recover, right? But for Paul, the mission is never on pause. On this island, he's not just some guy who survived a shipwreck. He becomes a healer. He starts performing miracles, ministering to the sick, proving that nothing, not even a shipwreck, can derail his purpose. And then, the moment arrives. Paul sets foot in Rome. This is it, the culmination of everything. The trials, the chains, the storm. He has made it to the capital of the known world.
Now, when you hear imprisonment, you're probably picturing a dark, dirty dungeon. But Paul's situation was really unique. It's called house arrest. So yeah, he was chained to a guard, but he was living in his own rented house. This meant he could have visitors, and that was everything.
So this imprisonment wasn't a roadblock. It was a launch pad. For 2 full years, think about that, 2 years, from this makeshift prison, Paul works tirelessly, establishing and building up the church right there in the heart of the empire.
I mean, just look at what he accomplished. He's meeting with local Jewish leaders, he's preaching to non-Jews, he spends his days just explaining the kingdom of God and teaching about Jesus. And the most amazing part? The final words of the book of Acts tell us he did all of this boldly and without any hindrance. A prisoner, freely proclaiming his message.
So, the book doesn't end with a neat little bow. There's no verdict, no release. It just leaves us there with Paul in Rome, which is a powerful way of saying the story is far from over. It shows that a message like this, once it's set in motion, can travel from the edges of the world to the very center and become truly unstoppable. And that's where the story of Acts leaves us, with a mission that reached the center of the world and a message that remains unhindered.
Thank you for joining us for this explainer. This has been a production of the Center Studio.